Good morning, lovely people. How are you all today? I hope you're all well. Here we are at the end of October, 6 months without a wage. I can't quite get over it actually. I can't believe it's 6 months since I put that last paycheck into the bank. Where has the time gone? And also, what did I used to spend my money on before? It's a bit crazy. So this has been a really, really interesting month, and I think there's been a bit of a shift that's gone on, and maybe it'll take me another year to get my I can't even explain it. Hang on a minute, Vivi, think about it. It's definitely a transition period. And I think there's still more transition to go, but I think a few things are like I say, finally falling into place for me, which has made it a great month. I'm finishing the month super duper happy, yay! If you remember at the end of last month, at the end of September, I was so tired. I was absolutely exhausted. And I was having quite a few days where I was feeling really fed up and just downright miserable. I've had time to reflect on that now, and I think it's inevitable, and I think it's perfectly natural and normal. I'm sure it was a product of the fact that right from the end of last May, when my great aunt had her fall, so that basically June, July, August, September, so much of my time was taken up with, well, initially 4 or 5 visits a week down to see her in hospital, and that went on for, 6 weeks in the end, crazy. And then even when she came home, actually no, it was 8 weeks, she didn't come home till the beginning of August. Even when she came home, it was like backwards and forwards, loads of phone calls, paperwork, it was just too much. And then any time I wasn't attending to her, my focus was completely on the garden. It had to be, because that was my food. So I think, just like I said, by the end of September, I think I was just absolutely done in, because all I was doing was commuting, seeing to my great aunt, see to the garden, get the harvest in, do my bottling, podding, drying, what have you. And I was determined going into October to, I was determined to give myself a day off once a week, and that hasn't happened, but never mind, I'm still working on it. But I definitely wanted to just sort of slow things down a bit and just have time to kind of just feel where I'm at. And I definitely did that, and it was in that first week of October I started to get this stupid little cold. It didn't really ever come to fruition, but it just kind of kept me feeling low for a few days. And there was an afternoon, I came home from the garden and I got scraps of paper all around me with bits of to-do lists, trying to remember, and I thought, right. So I curled up on my sofa for the afternoon, arranged all these scraps of paper around me and started making lists. A list for the house, a list for the garden, a list for the shed, a list for my great aunt, a list for friends and family and other stuff. And I thought, right, let's get stuck in. Let's get through this list and stop having the list, because the list is weighing down on me. It was really great actually to write it all down. And also there were some big things on the list. For example, paint shed. You know, and if you look at that, you think, I haven't got time to paint the shed. So then what I did was, for each little job on my list, I broke it down into much smaller jobs and assigned it a time value. I'm really, really nerdy, but this is how I have to get through things. So literally, if I thought, right, painting the floor of the shed, that's maybe an hour and a half, including the time to get down to my garden, get to the shed, get everything out of the way, paint the floor, lock up, come home. So I did that. And I literally started to just rattle through the list and think, okay, well, if I do some painting in the morning, then I can come home and do something at home whilst that coat of paint is drying. And then I can go back later on and ad infinitum. And actually, the more I was doing and the more I was getting done, the more motivated I felt to do even more. I think it's true what they say, if you want something done, ask a busy person. So what's been great about this month is I've been really, really busy, but it hasn't wiped me out. I mean, it kind of, you know, physically, at the end of the day, my legs hurt, but it's actually given me a ton of energy because I'm seeing my efforts rewarded every day with a bit of progress and something else ticked off the list. Yay! I think also one of the things that helped to click into place this month was I'd been thinking for some time about, am I going to have to go move down to where my great aunt lives? So you will have seen me talking about that in another video, so I won't go over it too much again. But the bottom line is I came to the decision that actually no, I want to stay here. I want to stay in my home in London and just reconcile myself to the fact that I need to commute down to her. But having got more care in place and got a little bit more organised with all those little daily bits and pieces, it now means that I only need to go to see her once a week, which massively frees up my time. And actually, when I had my cold, I didn't go down to see her for 2 weeks because obviously I didn't want to give her a chest infection. That's the last thing. But it showed me and her and the carers, in a way, it kind of showed everyone how much they've been relying on me, and that, you know, if I can't be there, there has to be a way around things. So again, it taught me as well that actually I need to start looking after myself, because if I don't look after myself, I can't look after her, I can't look after anyone. So that situation's got much better as well through the accident of having a cold. Yay, it's all looking so good. Money-wise, I've had to do a couple of big spends, well, biggish spends of getting things repaired. Could have done without it, but that's what the savings are for. I've got that contingency of, I've got some money set aside so that if something does go wrong, I can see to it. But that also got me thinking, although I don't want to work for someone else, I don't want to have a job, I do need to start thinking about where I can make some bits and bobs of money here and there, say from the sewing. So that's on my list to do as well. My to-do list, it's great. My to-do list doesn't scare me anymore. My to-do list excites me because I think, yay, what can I do next? Let's get on with something. So that will hopefully start happening over the next sort of few weeks or so. Food-wise, from the garden, I think I'll be okay. The only reason I'm sort of going, is I was looking at my dried beans the other day and I was thinking, it doesn't look like a lot of dried beans to get me through the winter. But then I had to remind myself that I ended up having to freeze a load. So I think within the next couple of days, I might just kind of look through all the stored produce, work out how much I've got of everything so that I can then ration it. But also bearing in mind there's masses of fresh food still to come out of the garden. So all the brassicas, carrots, parsnips, a few leeks and bits and pieces like that. Oh, and the corn that's to be harvested. Oh, and the chickpeas, I haven't harvested those yet. So hopefully the food situation will be okay. We'll see. You know, if I haven't got it right this year, I'll tweak and I'll have a go next year to get it even better. But I think, all things considered, I'm doing it. I'm living without a wage. I'm getting on okay. I'm feeding myself. I think the biggest thing, this is the biggest transition this month. I've had a little bit more time this month because the garden has quietened down, and I've managed to catch up with a couple of friends, really, really old friends, really good friends. And one of them, it was a completely unexpected visit because she lives in the States, and she got in touch at the last minute and said, are you free on this particular day? Now, if I'd been at work, if I'd been working, if that was a shift day, unless I could swap that shift with someone, I would have had to have said no. And what I'm loving this month is I'm really starting to feel a sense of, I love managing my own time. I love the flexibility I've got now. I mean, I still have hospital appointments, doctor appointments for myself, and I still have my great aunt, but they're all, even those things are slightly movable feasts, which is great. I just have felt this month that I'm really living sort of true to myself, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm having to compromise at all. No, I'm not. That's the bottom line. I'm not compromising. I'm being absolutely true to what I believe in and how I want to live and how I want to conduct myself, which is great. I was thinking about it when, on one of the days when I was meeting one of my friends, I was travelling up to London, and I straight away felt that commuting into London with people just barging and shoving, and I used to spend so much of my working life keeping my trap shut when actually I wanted to say, oi, you're being rude. People are so rude travelling. It does my head in. And even at work, there's always one or two people in the workplace that we don't get on with so well. It's inevitable. But when you're working alongside someone and you think you're just being mean and nasty and rude, but you can't really say anything because it would just, kick off, and so you keep your trap shut again. But now I feel like the people I'm surrounded by are the people I want to be surrounded by. They're the people I choose to have in my life, and they choose to have me in their life. It's all great. It just all feels... It finally feels like things are falling into place. I just feel content. That's it. I'm really, really content. Oh, and hang on, I'm going to have another big slurp. I think one of the reasons I've enjoyed this month so much is with my to-do list of setting all those goals and getting through them. I love having a goal. I absolutely love it, and breaking it down into the steps to get there, to reach that goal. And I've got another new goal. So I've literally, in the last sort of 24 hours or so, I've been given my surgery date. My first surgery is going to be for the left knee, and it's going to be in 4 weeks' time. Oh! Yeah, it's 4 weeks today. I've just worked it out. So I've got all sorts of nerves around it. I'll deal with that. But what's great is the timing is perfect. Absolutely. I couldn't have asked for better timing. So the garden will be pretty much sleeping away. I would only be going to the garden over winter to harvest and to work on building projects, but most things are done now. The deck can wait. Again, it'll have to wait. So I don't need to worry about the garden. That's great. The days are shorter and colder and darker, so naturally it would be a time when you'd be indoors, sort of doing indoor projects like sewing, what have you. But it's great that it's 4 weeks away, because it gives me time to do a load of prep. So I'll be doing a load of cooking and bits and pieces. Actually, someone was asking me the other day, a couple of people have asked, what will I do in terms of prep before the op? So there's all sorts I'm going to do, and I'll talk to you about that in a completely separate video, because otherwise I'll start transgressing now and talk for another 40 minutes. So yeah, all in all, 6 months without a wage check. I'm eating absolutely gorgeous food every day. I'm occupying my time. I'm surrounded by lovely people. My time is my own. I have to manage it. I have to manage it well, which I'm finally starting to do. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? It can be done. Even with wonky knees and wonky wrists, it can be done. I don't know how long I'll be able to do it for, but at the moment I'm loving it. So on that ridiculously happy note, I'm going to say cheerio to you all. Enjoy your cups of tea. And I'll catch up with you all again really soon. I'll catch up with you to talk about the pre-op stuff. But in the meantime, get your scraps of paper organised into one sheet and get ticking things off, because boy oh boy, it energises you to get your stuff done and see your results. In the meantime, take care everyone.